Hello friends, join us once again at your very own United by Ink for an evening where all are welcome to be part of a beautiful melting pot of artistry. Some of you might still be wondering, what is this open mic all about? How to participate? So for all of you dear friends who are watching it for the very first time, let me tell you what it's all about. If you're a writer, poet, a storyteller, a comedian, or an artist with the knack of winning hearts, through your creative souls, the creative juices. If you are one of those, you are welcome. You're welcome to the United by Ink open mic. If you're one of them, you should not miss this chance to showcase your talent. Get ready to join us on the UBI open mic. Every Wednesday, we come to our platform, United by Ink, our Facebook group, which you all are watching me today at. And the time is the same, 6 p.m. IST, 8:30 p.m. Malaysian time. No age ages. There is no limitation on age groups. Any age group can participate, and registrations can be sent either through our website, that's www.unitedbyink.org/ or there is a Google form, and the Google form link is available on the UBI website that I said, and the UBI Google form is also available on a post of open mic on our Facebook group pinned post, so you can check out what exactly we are and how we perform at our group, as well as today, how we will be performing. All right, as you know, we help creative souls realize their goals through learning and exhibiting their skills and broadening their experience through a trinity of activities. Keeping this in mind, we have always encouraged artists of all age groups to join us on our events. Today, also, we have two very young kids who will share the platform today with very senior writers, who I'm sure will help and guide them to become much more better poets and beautiful writers. So please welcome our wonderful writers on today's UBI Open Mic with our host, Nilakshi Roy ji. Welcome on board, everyone. Hello, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm still trying to get into the network. I'm having a bit of a problem. So I'll get back to you in a moment. Yes.
No problem. No problem at all. No problem at all.
Good evening, and very glad that you are having me on.
Our pleasure completely. It's a pleasure to have you over as a host, and with such beautiful poets and writers along with you, we have today Siddiq Shah, the youngest poet on group, on the open mic today. Anita Nayak ji joining us. Mridu Rao joining in from Noida. Darsh Venkateshwaran joining in from Mumbai. You all can unmute yourself now. The settings have been shifted back to allowed. All right. So before I go further, I will want to introduce Nilakshi ma'am first. She loves English. I must say that, you know, with her bio, which I can see, which I have read, I only first thing which comes to my mind is she really loves English, because in spite of being a retired head of the Department of English from KET's VG Vaz College, Wollongong, she still is into poetry, into writing, and she has never left that language. She will never. I wish her all the very best for the coming years too.
Thank you.
Mumbai, Wollongong, she resides, and she's been teaching since 1988. And with the specialization in Indian writing in English by women writers of the diaspora, and has many publications and presented many papers at national and international conferences on migration and the vast arena of cultural studies. Ma'am, it's an honor to have you on board today.
It's my pleasure. It's indeed my honor to be there on this excellent international platform. Thank you so much for having me.
I must add to this, ma'am is also a member of Sfika Rainbow Parents, and she writes in English as well as in Bangla. She has performed on various online poetry groups and open mics, like 100,000 Poets for Change and Poshak and many others. And she's been as a panelist for a few events too. So handing over the stage to ma'am. Thank you so much once again, Nilakshi ma'am. Please take charge.
Thank you so much. And it's such a delight to have poets just under 20 and just over 20 in our group, as we discussed earlier. So we're all young poets, as you can see, and I'm sure that this audience that we have is really going to be entertained by all their forays into the area of poetry. So without much ado, I would like to introduce the poets first, and then later, if we have time, we will talk poetry. All of us together, we might talk poetry. So first, it is my real pleasure to welcome Sidiksha V. Karanam, who hopefully will be able to join us with her video very shortly.
Ma'am, maybe you can start with Darsh because Sidiksha's video is still not
right.
She's
right.
having trouble.
Right. I think we'll start then with
no problem.
Darsh. Darsh is also a very young poet, as you can see, very bright and very talented poet. Darsh Venkateshwaran is his name. He's from Kohinoor International School in Mumbai, and he's an 8th grader, if you will believe me, because the next things which I'm going to tell you will probably stun you, because how could he accomplish all of this on his 8th grade? So he's won several awards and accolades in Olympiads and in karate. So poet not only writes, but also chops. So he has been honored by former Australian pace bowler Brett Lee, my mother's favorite and also mine, for his performance in cricket. He also learns the mridangam, so other use of the hands than karate. Okay. So Darsh is a first degree black belt in karate. Writing is his newfound interest. He's the youngest writer to have contributed towards a few other anthologies as well. He did not mention the anthologies, but I'm sure that if you look him up very soon, you will find some of these writings online. Yes, Darsh? So I think today first, Darsh will surprise you with a little piece, a prose piece first. Darsh, your time starts now. You can perform.
Hello.
You can
I'm going to
read.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm going to recite a short story on one of the characters from Harry Potter, Hermione Granger. I've penned this down as a Potterhead, and I hope all the Potterheads in the audience like it. It has been titled as the Know-It-All Witch. Okay, so the Know-It-All Witch. Hermione Jean Granger was born on 19 September 1979. She attended Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry from 1991 to 1998. Born with a brilliant academic mind and great dedication towards magical subjects, she proved to be the best every single year despite being a muggle born. She first met the famous Harry Potter and Ron Weasley on the Hogwarts Express on the way to Hogwarts. At first, they thought she was just an insufferable know-it-all, until the time she took the blame from the boys after they had saved her by the troll. From then on, they became the best of friends. In her second year, she went on to play a crucial role in finding out information on the basilisk, which helped Harry and Ron a slight advantage before falling victim to the basilisk. However, she quickly recovered with the help of Madame Pomfrey and Professor Sprout's Mandrake Draught. The next year, she was granted the permission of using a time turner by the Ministry of Magic to study additional subjects. But she later used it against the ministry to save the mass murderer and godfather of Harry, Sirius Black, from the Dementors and Buckbeak, the Hippogriff, from execution. In the fourth year, with Harry being chosen as the second champion for Hogwarts in the Triwizard Tournament, she was the only one to stand beside Harry when things seemed difficult for Harry, with even his best friend Ron not believing that he didn't put his name in the cup. She then went on to help Harry by teaching him various defensive spells which helped him throughout the tournament. You got to admit it. Spending all your time in the library really does help. She also started Spew for the betterment of elfish welfare. In her fifth year, things became rather difficult, with Umbridge as the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor, and later on, the High Inquisitor and the headmistress of Hogwarts. No using of spells was allowed during classes due to a misunderstanding by the Ministry of Magic. This resulted in many students joining Dumbledore's army and learning defensive magic under Harry. She created a secret way to communicate between the DA by using simple coins by putting a protean charm. She also jinxed the DA members' list such that anyone who blabbed out about the army would get boils on their face, forming the word sneak. In her sixth year, Hermione fought in the Battle of the Astronomy Tower, when all hopes were lost and Dumbledore perished. Hermione, Ron, and Harry decided not to return to Hogwarts for their final year of studies and instead helped Harry in finding and destroying Horcruxes. She, once again, was the only person beside Harry when all hopes were lost, and even Ron had left them of jealousy and anger. They riddled out a way to find and destroy Horcruxes. The DA coins proved useful once again when Hogwarts was under Snape's rule and the Carrows torturing every student in the way. It helped them to mate in the room of requirement when needed. As explained by Neville, he used them to summon former DA members to fight the Death Eaters and reclaim the school from them. Following the Second Wizarding War, she went back to Hogwarts to conclude her education. Despite having clashes with the ministry in her fifth year, she was employed by the ministry, promoting Spew. She was later promoted to the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, where she abolished several rules favoring the purebloods. She married Ron Weasley and had two children, Rose and Hugo. She was declared the godmother of James Sirius Potter by Harry and Ginny. She later went on to be the Minister for Magic. The main talking point on Hermione is that she fell in love with the wrong guy. Well, that's not true. Although Harry and Hermione were great together, they couldn't possibly together. J.K. Rowling said so herself. She thought Harry and Hermione wouldn't be compatible together because of the kind of bond formed between them. They could never show the slightest bit of romance between them in the books. Even if Ron and Hermione's relationship wasn't acceptable by the fans, that doesn't signify that Harry and Hermione can have one. She's like my sister, he went on. I love her like a sister, and I reckon she feels the same way about me. It's always been like that. I thought you knew. Harry explains to Ron why they wouldn't want to be together in the Deathly Hallows. Now I'm going to recite a short poem. It's titled Balloons. Balloons, an ancient cosmic evil entity originating from the macroverse, a ruined cosmos of identity, exists in the realm as deadlines, a true form unknown, writhing and destroying orange lights, a crawling hairy creature of the same tone, a giant spider in the physical realm, a seemingly innocent object presented as a kind of harbinger, the worldly seduced to collect, possessing no harmful traits of its own, their color calling for attention, imbued with a pure symbolism. Red balloons are a representation, embodying souls of the adolescents. The strings resemble the spider legs. The balloons float. It's not helium. They are souls which the clown X. His famous, they all float down here. Terrorized by the shape-shifting writ, confronting the Losers Club years later, the dancing clown called It. Yes, he is Pennywise, likewise the It. Thank you.
Excellent. I think everybody is applauding. I can see people vigorously applauding. So how does it feel now to recite poetry like this on an online platform, which you might have been doing in the past few, like, a few months or a year or so? Yes? Have you recited poetry online?
I have never. I think this is the first time I'm doing it on an online platform.
That is so nice. Okay, it must be a good feeling, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very good feeling to share your poetries with people.
Yeah. And your prose piece was also very well read. You read it very well. I really liked the way you read it. I read your pieces in advance so that I could know a little more about them. So I really enjoyed it because who doesn't like to read about, especially Hermione? So yeah, your fancy took quite a good flight of imagination. I also like the way you brought it at the end. I really like that. Yeah. So, yeah. Anything you want to say special about your poetry?
Yeah, it has been inspired from the film It, and
I know.
so and it was a bit challenging, but then
Okay.
I just, with the right mind, I and motivation, I could pen it down.
Okay. So it must be taking you a little time to write, right? I mean, when you think about something, then it must be taking you a little while to write. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I try to rhyme the words as well, but then that gets too tedious and time
Yes. Yes.
is not like.
We'll talk about that later on. I think many of us have that concern. Thank you so much. It was an excellent performance, your first, but it didn't look as if it was your first. So congratulations and a very, very nice reading. Yeah.
Thank you.
All the audience,
Very
please
well.
join me in applauding him very loudly.
Very well performed. Very well.
Yes,
Performed,
very
Darsh.
well performed.
Very
Darsh.
well inked as well as performed both ways.
Yeah.
Maybe in a while we will even ask the others what they feel about each other. So let's continue.
Yeah, that would be such a nice thing, isn't it? Yes. Thank you, madam. Yes, we then move on to the next participant who was, who we wanted to be first, but due to some internet issues, she was not there, but she's back again, luckily, with us. So welcome, Sidiksha V. Karanam. She's a 12-year-old who inherits a passion from books from her family, which is a writerly family, as I can see. She is also a voracious reader with a fertile imagination. She started reading full-length books when she was very young, at the tender age of 8. And she's been writing also from a very, very young age. So, Sidiksha, the stage is yours. She has written 2 special poems for us for this particular occasion. So, we are really honored. So, yeah, one poem is for us, which she was writing today. And another, I think she must have written a little earlier. She will discuss this after she has finished reading, right? Yeah. Sidiksha. So the stage is yours. Please unmute yourself and here we go.
Thank you, ma'am. So I would like to recite 2 poems. The first poem is, If My Wish Were to Come True. If my wish were to come true, it would be to dance on the clouds, catching the bright red sun, to never have an insect in sight, never having to do any chores, being a superhero saving the world, to never have any hassles, to read mountains of books, to eat chocolates, noodles, pizzas, and burgers without hesitation, to watch TV, Netflix, Disney with no obligation, to go on shopping sprees on Amazon and Flipkart, to go to PVR for movies and then dining out. But my number 1 wish will be for COVID to disappear. Thank you. My second poem is, The Grass is Always Greener on the Other Side.
Wonderful.
Gold there, coal here. Notes there, nickels here. Life is a non-ending cycle of greener grass on the other side. Resisting desires makes you rise above all. Attempts to match others makes you sink deeper. Be content and count your blessings. Compete with self and not with others. Your patch of garden may seem bare. Keep irrigating with your sweat and tears, not giving in to your desperation and fears. Grass will thrive on your bank of the river too. Never lose hope. Trust in you and only you.
Superb.
Wonderful, Sidiksha. So, why did you write what you wrote for us today?
Ma'am, so basically one is that grass is always greener on the other side. So that is basically our situation. Because we are, before Corona, we were like, life is so boring and all. And now after Corona is there, we're all thinking that, I wish there was no Corona. So that is the poem, Grass is Always Green on the Other Side.
Yeah, that's very nice. And the other one, the other poem which you wrote?
That is if my wish would come true. So basically,
Yeah.
there's also Corona. I used to go out before Corona and stay with friends, but now because of Corona, none of that is possible. So even that is inspired by that.
So, what I see from your poetry is that you like to write, keep to the context and, keep to the times and get inspired by what is happening around you, That is what
Yes, ma'am.
really interests you. So have you also written many other, do you compose like that? Do you think a lot and then write, or do you write on the spur of the moment?
I write in the spur of a moment.
Okay. So that's why today, even, even during the morning, you were still completing this poem, thinking that how best can I do it? Yeah, write it maybe once or twice and then see. Do you share your poetry with someone at home before you decide that this is final?
Yes, ma'am, my grandfather and mother.
Oh, they're so lucky to read your poems first, fresh from the oven. I wish I had people at home who would show me their poetry. I'm the only one showing poetry to anyone around. Of course, my children used to show them to me earlier, but now they are not writing, at least, not now. So, Sidiksha, that's a really, really nice way to progress. I like your simple sincerity. I think you're going to go very far ahead. Do you have plans of sharing your poetry elsewhere, publishing it and all that? Do you write for your school magazine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's nice. That's really good. Must keep on writing and participating like this, whatever opportunity you get. And there is definitely a bright future for people like you, Darsh. Very, very nice. Very well done. I think all
Thank
of us
you, ma'am.
you're showing a lot of depth and some amount of vision and some relation to the surroundings, both of you. So it's nice to find inspiration through literature, as Darsh is doing, is also something really, really commendable. Yeah. So yeah, let's move ahead with the one who is on the kind of verge of 20. Yeah, she's just 21-year-old. So we will go now on to Mridu. Thank you so much, Sri Diksha. Thank you and welcome again. I would like to now introduce Mridu. Mridu, who is a 21-year-old daydreamer. She believes in manifesting her dreams. I only want to manifest internet connection, internet connection, internet connection. That's all I want now, But then she is a spiritual person. She doesn't think of things, mundane things like that. She is a spiritual person by heart and mind and soul. And she uses creativity to express herself and to establish her inner peace and to, to also establish self-love in the world. She's also an ardent animal lover, and she spends her time with nature and with children. You will find, Mridu, that some of us are writing very seriously about nature. So yeah. So yes, Mridu, very, very warm welcome. Please unmute yourself and join us.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Before I start writing, I start sharing my poetry. I started my venture of expressing myself as a poet at the age of 9, and I am grateful to my parents, my grandparents, my school teachers, and UBI for helping me hone my skills to not only understand myself as a person, but to express my views to the world more properly. So I will share a poem, first poem, that is Amore, that means to love in Italian. I started loving the essence of the rain and let the raindrops soak me with the fresh fragrance of the monsoon's name. I started loving the silence of the night and walked in serene environment to find a way of reducing the noises in my life. I started loving the warmth of the sun and enjoying the long distance relationship of love. I started loving the coolness of zephyr, whispering me about its whereabouts to find it again in the land where I stroll. I started loving the essence of life when I found love in nature instantly while looking for love from a man. So this gave me a sense of connecting myself with the nature. And in the end, I started finding commonness with people around me. So the next thing is called as Just the Same, the next poetry. Kamsamnida, says a boy to his mother. Arigato gozaimasu, says an old man to a woman. Gracias, says a school child to his teacher. Thank you, says a woman to a shopkeeper. Words mean the same, heart feels the same, gratitude is the same for all. Then why differentiate people all the way on the basis of caste and creed, love? The young Indian boy kicks the football in the same way an African kid would do. The old Japanese nurse would take care of a patient with the same care as the Iranian nurse would do. Then why differentiate people all the way on the basis of their religion, love? Heart feels the same, eyes see the same, words may be different, but the determination to create a better world remains the same. And thank you so much. In the end, I just have a small poem that's for my grandparents and for all the senior citizens. And it's in Hindi actually. क्या सोचते हुए जिंदगी गुजर जाती है, काश जवानी होती अभी, क्योंकि बुढ़ापा बड़ा सताती है. अंदर से घबरा जाता है मन, तो दिल की आवाज तेज हो जाती है. कुछ ना कुछ ख्यालों में ये दिन निकल जाते हैं. काश वो दिन वापस आते, काश मेरी जवानी के रंग फिर भर जाते. काश इतना डर मुझे ना सताता, काश मेरा सर मेरी माँ के गोद में होता. पर क्या बुढ़ापा कोई बीमारी है कि मैं जीवन ठीक से ना जीऊं? क्या खराबी है अगर बुढ़ापे में बच्चों जैसा जीऊं? धीरे धीरे चलूंगा और बुढ़ापे के गुण गाऊंगा. अपने दिल को संभाल लूंगा, खूब शांति से शोर मचाऊंगा और मेरे बच्चों से भी खूब डांट खाऊंगा. बस प्यार मुझे ऐसा ही मिलता रहे और मैं फिर से बूढ़ा बच्चा बन जाऊंगा. किस्मत मेरे हाथों में है, सांता क्लॉज से तोहफे की दुआ मांगूंगा. आज माँ की गोद नहीं तो क्या, अपने बच्चों की ही गोद में सो जाऊंगा. थैंक यू सो मच. धन्यवाद.
Superb, superb.
So very beautiful. So beautiful. You know, someone who cares for animals, nature, and the elderly. You know, I only have, volumes of praise for such a young person. You really are going to, be the capable shoulders on which we leave our universe behind one day. So I'm really hopeful to see so many of you, all three of you. So Siddisha has been using so much of nature imagery in your writing. You have been referring to nature so importantly, and this poem of the related to your grandparents and in their voice, to empathize with them, to realize that this is their need, looked upon with respect, and to be given some amount of freedom, some amount of autonomy to live their lives in the way that they want. That is very, very nice, very beautifully written. I think this one appealed to me the most. I don't know. Of course, I did like your, I liked your, just the same very much, especially, the way you began with, the line of thank you in each language. Korean, you started with Kamsamida. That was so nice. So that, and the sentiment behind it, that since the feelings are the same everywhere, why must we differentiate between people? And it's not like this is happening outside in racism is happening elsewhere. It's not. Everywhere you will find this, in every country, in every national group, in ethnic groups, in all kinds of situations, you find that such kinds of differentiations are made. They put just separate people. They keep people away from each other. It's not a nice thing to happen. So I'm glad that you took up this on your behalf. What do you want to share about your writing?
Well, I'm more of a philosophical writer because I don't write thinking. I just write what I feel like writing, and things just go and flow for me. And for me, if I have ideas coming, I can write like 5 poems in like the next 10 minutes. And then for the next 3 months, I have nothing to write. So I'm more of a sporadic person, but then for me, my poems are kind of difficult to understand because they're kind of connected to me. So if you understand the poems, you pretty well understand me. That's my way of expressing myself at the best.
Okay. So about these 3 poems, what would you say? Why did you write this poem for your grandparents, for example?
I stayed with my grandparents for 6 months, and I am kind of close to many senior citizens. And one thing you do say that, oh, what's there to live right now? Hamari to umar ho gayi hai. We can't do this. And that's when you're like, no, you're still, you're young by heart. You can do whatever you want. Physically, yes, it might be impossible, but if mentally you still believe you're a child, then nothing is impossible for you.
Correct, correct. And what about the other two poems? What did you feel that, I know that you are a very, spiritual person, and it comes and goes, your feelings come and go. So as soon as they come to you, you will write. Yeah? The one about amore, love, for example. Why would you have, when would you have composed that? I can't say why, I know why. when would you have composed that? Some time back?
No, this was actually 2 years back when I had written. And at that time, I had my friend, the thing was that everybody, you seek for love from people, from outside of you, but you don't realize that you have things around you which emanate that love. It can be anything, even a non-living object. And as I said, I'm more a philosophical person. So even a book, and if that one line just inspires me, I feel as if that line loves me. So I think that is something, and I love rain a lot. So that day it was raining. I think it was in the month of May. I had written this poem more specifically. So this is one of my favorite poems because it just tells the truth that love is there. You don't have to seek it. It's just around you. Open your eyes of the heart, not these eyes.
I think it's a very, very deep poem. I especially like that place there. Let the raindrops soak me with the fresh fragrance of the monsoon's name. It's very, very beautiful. When I found love in nature instantly while looking for love from a man. Very wise words from an 18-year-old. You were 18 at that time, or 19 when you wrote.
Yeah, I was 18.
This is really special. Last 3 lines go like this. I started loving the essence of life when I found love in nature instantly while looking for love from a man. I thought this was remarkable. Very, very nice.
Thank you so much.
Nice. So very big applause for you too, Mridu, and we hope that you get a very good audience each time. You must have performed quite a few times in front of friends or on an online platform or elsewhere. You have?
Well, publicly yes, but not on the online forum. But yeah, publicly I have been given a chance to perform.
Okay. So nice, very nice. I hope you go from more to more, and that your works are published and shared and read very widely. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
A lot of our future depends on thinkers like you, and I hope you go a long way in sharing your philosophy and your essential core of spirituality, which I see in your poems. Yeah?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mridu. Thank you so much. I welcome now a poet, one of the poets in our forum who uses a pen name. Okay, so I introduce Jhelum to you, and Anita Naik. She is now going to perform her poetry in front of us, and we're very happy to have you, Anita. We have met elsewhere. We have known each other in another forum, but Anita is a very, very lovely poet. You will, of course, listen to 3 of her poems and you will know what she is really fond of writing. So she is a management graduate who chose to be a homemaker. Very courageous decision, I would say, in the face of, feminism and this cult of independence that we all women have started to belong to. I mean, yes. It is very difficult to decide to be a homemaker. She is also a fairly recent pilgrim, she says, on the path of poetry. For the past 2 years, she has fairly regularly posted her work on Facebook and Instagram. Yes. She says. And she writes in Facebook as Jhelum, and in Instagram as #in_advertently. So this is her first experience of presenting her poetry on any platform other than sessions organized by a hybrid group. I mean, we have a group called Union Poetry, which performs as well as goes online. So most welcome here on United by Ink.
Thank you.
To an international audience.
Yes.
And please read your poems. The stage is all yours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Neelakshi ji, for the introduction, the sweet introduction. And I wish to express my gratitude to United by Ink and Sapna ji for giving me this opportunity. This is my first performance on an open platform. I have performed on closed platform before, online, but not on such a huge on scale. I would like to begin by sharing with you my thoughts on poet and poetry. A ray of light which appears to be of a single color, white color, when it passes through a prism, comes out on the other side all unfurled as a rainbow. Now, why am I sharing this physics fact in a poetry session? Well, because I think every poet is a prism. Every emotion, situation, or person, however mundane and monochrome they appear, when they come in contact with a poet, the poet's expression captures and presents the hidden myriads of magic in all and everything. To me, this process is what is poetry. On this note, I present to you my first poem. It comes across as a sort of self-introduction, however, a disclaimer that it is not always that I feel so much about myself. The poem is called All of Those. All of those, the meandering in a memory, the melancholia in a ballad, the learning in a longing, I feel those. The alertness in the wit, the despair in the fear, the romance in the suffering, I know those. The warmth in a hug, the lyrics in a song, the words in a Sufi dervish, I am those. At days I'm more than these, at days I'm not even close. Slowly unraveling the magic that is me, yet knowing I am more than all of those. Yet knowing I am more than all of those. So my next poem is about a woman, one among many more such women, poised on the evening of her life, having executed all responsibilities responsibly, experiencing an epiphany. The poem is called A Dream. A dream. One deepest mauve evening, under the subdued gentle beam, in an oddly shaped hour, I birthed a dream born of an epiphany, powerful yet tender, awaiting nurture and potent with splendor. The dark of self-doubt, though, wrecked this perfect imagery, for this dream that I dreamt had me as its beneficiary. For decades now, the dreams I had encouraged others to see. For decades now, the dreams I had encouraged others to see and exulted in their fulfillment hadn't at all belonged to me. This dream does paint a picture with a palette of my choice. My life now quivers in anticipation of new reasons to rejoice. My life now quivers in anticipation of new reasons to rejoice. My last poem is my take on winter season, a season mostly thought of as the last one or the season of the ends. To me, winter is the monk of all seasons, and the poem expresses the why of it. Winter. I am a true blue winterling. I am a true blue winterling, all frozen in my ways, struggling through scorching summers of life, wallowing through the drenching rainy days. The chill that slips in with the breeze, the chill that slips in with the breeze under the blanket of the lazy fog, the liberation of the trapped leaves from the tyranny of the turbulent top, a pause advertently infusing, soothing the compulsive creative fires, calming the relentless frenzy of doing, to dream, to rest, to replenish, to rewire. These ways of the winter I find vital and wise. These ways of the winter I find vital and wise. The slowing down of life, to summarize. Warming the cockles of my depleted pride, warming the cockles of my depleted pride with the fiery stories of how I survived, with the fiery stories of how I survived. Thank you, and I hope you all enjoyed.
Wonderful.
As
we
much
really
as
enjoyed.
Thank
really
you.
Really enjoyed. So, just like I asked everybody else, I would also like you to share with you how you write inadvertently.
So you got my the reason behind it. It is inadvertently. Poetry to me, it gives me, it's like a therapy for the private person inside me. It kind of soothes me, and it kind of the timid part of me becomes courageous when I'm writing. That's the way to put it. So what I've realized is when there is an intense emotion or a feeling, that could be anything. As she said, a small green leaf moving. I love the nature, and even a small bud which is taking a shape. What happens is you end up feeling emotions, and the emotions like rushing through the life you have lived, and then what to do with them. The best is to, that's what I've realized. So I said 2 years I've been on a pilgrimage. The moment I decided this is the best way to get it all out, poetry happened to me. So I can't write until I feel something for the topic or the subject. So it has to be a connect. So inadvertently.
So inadvertent. And what about Jhelum? Is that your nickname or pet name, or you have taken it?
No, actually, I don't know. When we were small, there used to be people giving you 2-3 names, kind of.
Yes,
so Anita,
yes.
Yeah. So Anita was the name that entered my school and etc. Like, my academics. But then there was my granny or my elder sister had told me, you have another name called Jhelum. And somehow the flowing river and the mountains and the Jhelum, I don't know who kept that name, but I'm thankful to the person because I connect to it. The flow of the river, the peace that I associate with that, the beauty of the nature that I associate with Jhelum is the reason why I wanted that name to be somewhere with me. So I kept it.
That is so nice. I mean, it's really a great fortune that, you've become a poet and you can continue to keep that name. Yes. So that more and more people use it, instead of just Anita, which is now your, just an identifier.
Yeah.
I really like Jhelum and wish to be called.
I feel connected to that name, Jhelum. And so
I really love that.
Thank you.
Poetry flows like Jhelum. So it is absolutely apt.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, yeah. So then, do the poets want to respond to each other? It would be so nice if any of the poets want to respond to each other or ask each other questions or just express their admiration or ask for, tips or whatever you want to wish.
Before we go ahead and listen to their opinions or their thoughts, we are all waiting to hear Nilakshi ma'am also.
You know what? I am a Johnny come lately. I have started writing poetry only 5 years ago. And as you know, I'm 60 years old. Okay. So I started writing when I was 55. And I don't know what I was doing all these years. That is definitely true. I don't know what I was doing. I mean, I know what I was doing, but I don't know why I wasn't writing poetry is what I meant to say.
Because you were connecting others' poetry.
Or maybe I was studying others' poetry so that I could write
their poetry. So poetry was with you in whatever form it was.
Yeah,
And then it said, it's high time that I flow through your pen too. So
I think, you know, poetry basically needs encouragement. So I'm glad you have started this platform because, you know, if no one reads your poetry, there is no fun. So it is a very, very consumer-oriented art. Actually, you can't write poetry and sit back and say, "Ha, मैं ना ये diary में ही छुपा के रख दूँगी," and you know, I don't want anyone to read.
You cannot do that.
Cannot do that. So I'll just share a few poems which I picked out today, which have been written long back. But I'll share these poems. You know why? Because some of you are, as you expressed yourselves, finding it difficult to not rhyme. Okay, or finding it difficult to write a poem which must be controlled by rhyme, you know. So there are tricks which you can use, which I want to share with you through the two poems. So I'll be analyzing them. I write very small poems. I told you, I write very recently, so I find it very difficult to write. So 10-12 line is all comes out, and I write in one sitting. You know, I wake up in the morning and then I start writing, or just before going to sleep, I think of the poem. And other poets have shared it with me that it's a very good time to think. That's what happens, you know, at night. If you should write it then. It doesn't happen.
Actually, what this says either before bedtime or early morning.
Early in the morning when you're alone.
Yes,
when you're alone with yourself.
Brahma Muhurat time is actually the best time to write.
Yes, Amrit Vela, as they say. So there is this poem called Wounds. Okay, it's not about violence. It's about a violence of a different kind, which Mridu will understand. Wounds. You have wounded me over and over again. Jabbed at me, spade and trowel have scraped at me, rakes have clawed over me to smoothen what you've dug. And excavators threw out my innards. And yet I have brought you flowers and fruits, grains and greens, rubies and agate, diamonds and gold, and made your home secure within my womb. You seem to prosper, son. Remind your children of this grand old mother with her ever wounded body, which still bleeds for you and for them too. May I ask, could you guess who this poem was addressed to?
Mother Earth.
Mother Earth, exactly. So, you know, this is what I thought that I'll write it in this way without mentioning the subject of the poem, and think about how I wrote this on World Earth Day. You know? So sometimes I do that because, you know, when I'm not able to think what to write, when to write, you know, I think that, okay, today is this, I will think, see how my pen takes me, where my pen, not my pen, my keypad takes me, and I write like that. Now, this next poem is for you, Darsh, and for Siksha, because, you know, I've experimented a little with rhyme and rhythm here, so I thought maybe I'll share it with you. It's not got clear rhyme rhythm, except in the last two lines, okay? But there is a kind of underlying half rhyme, para rhyme, you know, where some syllables are rhyming, some sounds are similar, there's assonance, you know, so all that is there. It's called Solitude. Like a cat chasing its tail, a dog its own shadow, butterflies chasing the fragrance, a flower beguiled nectar, clouds chasing rain, trees, every drop of water, we seek solitude. Being solo, solus, alone, in every jam-packed ride and every hourly prayer and Sunday market rush and raucous dive or bar. We come into life out of solitude, only to seek it for the rest, till we find it in the dust. So that's what I was telling you, you know, like rest and dust. And then, you know, you have your prayer and bar. Then you have nectar and water. Then you have tail and rain. Just the sounds are similar, you know, everything else is just the syllable is similar. So like that, you know, you can also try doing this when you think that you're just being too tied down by rhyme, you know, you don't want to do that. So maybe you could separate it or you could break it down by this. Then I tried another kind of rhyme. I don't know if I have time. I think, yeah, maybe a little bit time is there. Thoda sa small one. Summer days. Who knows best the summer days than the farmer and his ox? The dry heat, the fiery stones, the tough old soil like rocks. The poisoned earth where nothing grows, his debt, his children, mounting woes. Summer days, not holidays, at beaches, sipping drinks. Summer days, the farmer says, are marked with 1,000 Gs. That's it. This is as long as my inspiration stays. 12
You
to 14
don't need more words.
You say it so beautifully with such less words. It is so much impact and so much depth which it has.
I'm sorry, I'm taking a little more of your time, but this is some poem which I have to read to you because, you
Please,
know,
ma'am, please go
inspired,
ahead.
yeah, inspired by this, somebody else translated. Okay, so I thought that it's fun to read how people's minds work.
Yes.
I'm very bad at Hindi, and Anita knows it, and others know it in the other poetry group that I am a part of, because I have not studied Hindi very well, but I like to express in Hindi. Okay, so please excuse me if my grammar is bad. You know, in Bangla, we don't have gender.
But how about a Bangla poetry from?
I'll come to that. Yeah, in Bangla, we have no gender. So my kaki goes all wrong. Okay. So it's called Man. And it's an experiment with numbers, as you will see. It's not about my man, actually. Man. आज मेरा मन कर रहा है कि टूटी फूटी हिंदी में ही मन की एक दो बातें लिख डालूं 2-3 पंक्तियों में, और तुम बड़े जतन से 3-4 बार मुस्कुराते हुए 4-5 सही शब्द, सही स्पेलिंग, सही छंद जुड़कर वापस भेज दो। तब मेरा मन उठे झूम, 5-6 बार पढ़ लूं, 7-8 दिन उसी के नशे में 9-10 साल की जुदाई भूल जाओ।
क्या बात है, क्या बात।
So I
this is a ghazal. You've written a ghazal.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
And now it goes in Bangla like this. আজ মন বলছে ভাঙা ভাঙা বাংলায় মনের 2-1 কথা লিখে ফেলি 2-3 লাইনে, আর তুমি সযত্নে 3-4 বার মুচকি হেসে 4-5টা সঠিক শব্দ, সঠিক বানান, সঠিক ছন্দে বেঁধে আমায় ফেরত পাঠাও। 5-6 বার পড়ে নিয়ে 7-8 দিন তারই আমেজে 9-10 বছরের বিরহী মন ভোলাই।
Wow.
Okay. Now somebody read this and she translated this into Marathi. Okay.
Awesome.
So I'm reading the Marathi. Yeah, I don't know whether you know Marathi, all of you, but some of you know.
I can understand. I can understand.
I think
I can
some
read,
of
I
you
can
know.
write.
Yeah.
I think most
maybe
of us
Anita,
here will be aware of Marathi.
Yeah, maybe Darshan Siddiksha, because they study in Mumbai. Mumbai, right?
Mridu knows she is from a Marathi background.
Anita probably, and Sapna definitely. So
I can for sure.
Yeah. So she translated it. Yeah, she kind of transcreated it, I think. So she calls it Man. आज असे वाटते माझ्या मनीचे गुज बायबोलीते लिहावे, तू हसून ते बघावे आणि त्याला शब्द छंदाची महिरप देऊन सजवावे, त्या शब्दांच्या हिंडोळ्यावर माझे मन झुलावे, त्या मोहमयी हिंडोळ्यावर मी विरह वेदना विसरावे. That's it. That's all.
Super.
I hope you had fun. I really had fun.
Really enjoyed. I at least I have enjoyed it thoroughly, and I can see that the audience is enjoying it also.
Yeah. We all enjoyed. We all
go to the live session also. We already have nearly 90+ comments. I mean, imagine. Yes, already. So this is just while it is live. So later on, I'm sure whoever comes in will also enjoy. And this is by far really one of the most amazing open mics I have been through. This is really amazing. All of you were good, but your comparing, your hosting is It's exceptional. It's so beautiful.
It's just anyone would do this much, at least for love of young kids and for love of poets and poetry. So yeah, it was
No,
my
everybody
pleasure.
loves it, but the way you when you were talking, it was flowing so beautifully, and with no effort. It's basically so effortlessly. It just flew by, as if you have been, like, practicing or whatever. But where I know, and we all know that it is like all extempore work which we are doing here. And there is some people ask me, do you have a practice session also separately? Like, practice session क्या होता है? Open mic है, आप आइए, आप बात करिए, और हम जैसे बातचीत करते हैं, we talk over there. Oh, okay. I thought you practice. I was stunned with that. So, because they watch every Wednesday, and some of the people at the back end, they will come and ask us, so do you practice it? Because you all are so, like, fluent. And today's session also went so beautifully. It was really amazing.
And it was really made amazing by all the poets and their
all the poets.
Variety of poetry, variety of genres, variety of expressions. I'm really amazed, and I'm going really enriched with a lot of hope for the future of poetry.
Yes, absolutely. And each one of you were so good at your piece. I mean, be it Darsh with his Harry Potter, related story, or Mridu with her Hindi or English poetry, Sidiksha with COVID-related poetry. Anita ma'am, you were so awesome. I mean, inadvertently, if you write so well, if you plan and write, God knows what will you write. Amazing, amazing, absolutely amazing. And I mean, I really want to mention here, Sidiksha and her family, as ma'am mentioned. Yes, most of them are connected. All of them are connected, in fact, to UBI. And this time we had an opportunity to hear Sidiksha's self-written poetry. That was our we awaited moment. In fact, I must say, we were waiting to hear Sidiksha's self-written poetry, and today came the day. Mridu has been with us from past few years, and she's in fact been published in one of our anthologies. I don't know whoever knows about it. We do come up with anthologies every year, and in one of our anthologies, Mridu has been published. Darsh, yes, Darsh's family is connected. We all know Divya, and Divya's Darsh's mom. And thanks to Divya, we have a writer and a poet, a storyteller amongst us. Anita ji, your poetry framing skills are really beautiful. Please keep it up. And I would really want you to keep writing and share your work with the Facebook group or even our website. We have a blogging website. I don't know how many of you are aware. You can post your work there. You can create your writer login, and you can keep writing there. And if you are not very much a big fan of Facebook, you can write there, and you can keep your collection over there together. You can become a contributor to UBI.
Wow, I mean, I didn't know this. I'll make a note.
Yeah, I didn't know this either. Yeah, this is much more preferable than Facebook.
Yes.
Absolutely. And then what happens with the click of your name, all your poetry or all your work will come together. You will be getting those contributory stars and all that.
Wow, nice.
So that's a different,
definitely.
Different feel altogether. And at the same time, you have your picture, you have your a short write-up which you want to add along with your poetry. So you have the liberty to do that. Wherein on Facebook, we don't allow all that. Promotions are not allowed also. So yes, there are various platforms you can connect with us through. Obviously now this particular program is going to be also posted on the YouTube channel. But even otherwise, if anybody who is watching us, or if would like to come in, open mic obviously is there. Even otherwise, if they want to participate through sending their videos, or if they write a nice motivational story, if they have not written themselves, but if they recite, or if they maybe narrate a story and send us a video or an audio, we do post it on every Monday on our channel. So motivational stories, not necessarily written by you, but some story which has inspired you, which should be shared with others. Feel free to let us know.
Definitely.
And we would love to share it with the world and inspire and motivate others as well. So yeah, I think that today we have come to the time where we have to say goodbye. Thanks once again to each one of you for sharing your time and energies and moments and the poetry and the write-ups, so beautifully written. Looking forward to for more. I'm very, very greedy. I want more. Ye dil mange more. Shivani, hamesha.
Thank you for creating this platform, Sapna ji. Thank you very much for creating this platform and for having us.
Pleasure. It's completely a teamwork, ma'am. And this whole session will not be complete without thanking Shyam Sundar Sharma ji,
Shyam-Sundar sir,
who is the backbone, I always say, and who is basically the person who gave this concept to UBI, who pushed me to come up with the concept. And he's like, don't worry, we are all there with you. I said, I can't manage so much. And he's managing it so beautifully at the back end. He's taking care of everything, be it inviting poets, be it checking the forms, Google form. Any issue you have, you can reach out to him. You have any issue in reaching out to us, you can reach out to him. And he's such a gem of a person and a very beautiful soul who is taking care of UBI Open Mic so beautifully, and that too with the at backstage. Thank you, Shyamji, and I can't thank you enough for being there always.
Indeed.
Thank you so much, everyone. And with this note, we say a goodbye to the Facebook audience. Thanks, audience, for being there. See you again on next Wednesday, and we have a lot more coming up for you.